Welcome to today's live event with Chef Jackie Pfeiffer, who has just moved to the south of France. And we've been doing many live events over the last couple of years, talking about the three courses that we developed with Chef Jackie: Introduction to Pastry Arts, Bread Baking Arts, and Cake Baking and Decorating. So these are the three courses that we've spent the last year and a half developing and running, and we've got thousands of students that have gone through. And now Chef Jackie has pretty much retired and moved to the south of France. And he's going to a farmer's market every Saturday that's been going on for 700 years. And he's been inspired by the fruits of the season. So we wanted to restart our live event series. And Chef Jackie, tell us a little bit about where you are and what you're doing.
Uh, Thank you, Scott. I'm in the south of France, in a small village near Toulouse, and I'm currently renovating a farm. And while it's being renovated, I moved into a small. Uh, it's an old house from the 1800s, and it's very rustic and has a tiny kitchen. But at the end of the day, you're in the south of France, and it's beautiful. And also, what's great is, as you mentioned, is the beautiful products at the farmers market. So I'm really excited to share the few things that I have made so far, and I will continue to make new creations, always with the recipes that are in our courses, three courses. Um, I use those recipes and I adapt them to whatever I want to do. Right now, I have very little equipment. I have a very tiny kitchen, so I do with what I have, which is sometimes the best thing to do, because you you go back to the basics. You focus more on the product you're buying, and you try to not manipulate it too much.
Excellent. So are you from the south of France or are you from the north and you've kind of moved back to a warmer area?
I'm from the Alsace region, also called the Promised Land in France. In it's so it's much colder up there compared to the south of France. So after living 23 years in that region, which is it's a little gray in the winter, and then 30 years in Chicago, so I was looking for a change, and that's why I'm in the south of France, southwest, which has weather that you can compare to California weather. So it's very nice. And but uh, I'm uh, I'm planning a small a trip to Strasbourg, where I come from, during the Christmas market, because it was named one of the best Christmas market in the world. And I'll do some videos, also perhaps some recipes with the flavors that the holidays call for.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of spices and lots of celebration cakes
Excellent.
and
Well,
things
this
like
is
this.
fun to be broadcasting. I'm in Hawaii and you're in France. 12-hour difference. This is great. So a little bit of housekeeping for those of you on the event. If you've never been to a live event, we have a place that you can add questions on the top right. And if you add those, and they will queue up in our list, we seem to have 4 or 5 questions at this moment. And we'll get to your questions after we go through the event. We're going to do what we've done in the past with the similar videos, but instead of showing you technique videos from the course, we're going to show you some videos that Chef Jackie has filmed in his area. And we're going to start with a kind of a visual of his kitchen, his mini kitchen, and then we'll go into the market and some of the things that he's been making out of the market. And during this, Chef will talk about the techniques that he's used, and we can reference those to the courses that we have. So also, if you see my name and Jackie's name on the live event, there are links there to get to the courses if you're not in them, which will give you an idea of the curriculum that we're offering. So Chef, let's start with your kitchen. I can see in the background that you're in a small kitchen, but you're in an old farmhouse, right?
Yeah, and it's tiny kitchen, and but it has the essentials. It has an oven, and it has a stove. It's induction, it's fine. And but the smallest countertop possible. And but that really makes me go back to basics, and also makes me put things in perspective. Our students many of our students, most of them work in their kitchen, and baking for the last month in this little tiny kitchen really made me feel for them and appreciate their work even more, because you know I made puff pastry here in this small kitchen, and there's no air conditioning, of course.
Mhm.
And it's a challenge, but it really helps me understand more the challenges our students face, and I can help them even more.
Yeah. It's really great to see on our Facebook page some of the postings from the students doing it from their home kitchen with minimal equipment and what they're presenting and have been learning through your courses. So,
Yeah,
Patrick,
yeah.
let's roll the video of his kitchen, get a better visual here. Well, that was a quick tour, a 6-second tour of your kitchen. That's probably very different than the
Yes.
kitchen you were at the helm in Chicago for many years.
Yeah, and the kitchen that I'm building right now. So I
Right.
am retired, but I'm not retired because I'm still with Ruby and the courses, and you know
Yeah.
when you bake for 46 years straight, you cannot just stop and do nothing. So I'm planning on creating new things. I have lots of
Excellent.
ideas, and the sky's the limit
So
from
tell
here.
us a little bit about this farmers market. I've talked to you a few times, and I've seen a couple of videos of this market, and it's amazing. It's been around for 700 years. Is that right?
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. It's so vibrant. I go early because it's not so crowded at 7 in the morning, and you get actually the best product. I found fresh Goji berries twice, and if you go at 7, you'll find them. If you go at 9, it's gone. And if you go at 10 or 11, the place is full of people. It's just so busy, and the vendors, as the day goes, the vendors get more animated, and they scream because they promote their product, and they got to get rid
Hmm.
of it. And it's funny because I always look at things like from a business perspective, and I see at 7 o'clock, I see these vendors with like cases and cases and cases of peaches, and in my head, I'm like, no way they're going to sell all this. And once I went to the market at noon, and most of everything was gone. So it's just amazing, the energy and the fact that it's been going on for 700 years straight, and it's every Saturday. The city is called Revel, and it's in the center of the town, in this very old building that is made for that. Many small cities have a building like this. I have one that is right across the street. It's about 100 yards from where I am right now, and they have a market like this. So it's just very refreshing to you just go to those markets. It's just very different, and you really can get a hold of great product that is made right there, that is harvested right there. You know.
Nice. And I know you took a video. Let's show that. It's about a minute long, but at least gives you a feeling for the experience Chef Jackie's been having.
Okay.
Merci, bon week-end. Merci. Messieurs, dames, bonjour.
So I'm jealous, chef. That's amazing. And the fact that you get to go down there every Saturday. I go to my farmer's market here, but it definitely doesn't look anything like that. So you've been inspired
Well,
by the fruits. What kind of fruits have been coming through that you just thought were excellent this
oh,
summer?
so the goji berries are just, I've never tasted them fresh like this, and they're just wonderful, just like this, fresh, but also in a fruit salad, in a fresh fruit tart. Also, you can add a little sugar and make a little marmalade out of it. It's a taste that I cannot even describe. It
Hmm.
has nothing to do with the taste of dried goji berries. So. I hope our viewers will have a chance to find them and maybe grow them. Uh, I'm also working on creating a garden. That's what I'm doing tomorrow morning. We're doing layering of thing hay and manure. But also I'm going to plant a bunch of fruit trees, and I'm going to see if I can plant a goji tree to see
Hmm.
if it works, because the climate is good. Other than that, lots of plums, lots of different plums, lots of berries, lots of peaches, all kinds, figs. I have a decent size land, and I walk around, not every day, but almost every day, and I find a new tree. And so I discovered a couple fig trees on my land, and then there's a couple hazelnut trees, and so it's just the
Yeah.
climate that makes things grow so nicely.
So I know you made something with some cherries and peaches and infused some ice cream. Tell us about that dish and inspiration
Yes.
around those flavors and colors.
So the dish with the cherries, the cherries were just so good, and that was earlier when I arrived here, and I just added a little lemon juice, a little 25% sugar, and then I just cooked them slowly, just to create kind of like a marmalade if you want, and then I put it in a jar, and the peaches were so flavorful, so floral, that you should not mess with them too much. If you take those peaches and you make a mousse, peach mousse with it, right? So you're gonna add whipped cream. You're gonna add maybe some egg yolk, some sugar to create a foam that we call a patabon.
Hmm.
If you add those things, then the flavor of the peach is not going to be as vibrant. And so I just um, I just peel them, and then I let them marinate with some thyme and some lemon zest and some sugar, and then I just put a little brown butter, and then I roasted them in a little copper pan that I found in a resale store, and then after that some ice cream on top, some thyme ice cream. I got a hold of an ice cream maker, and so that's the vanilla ice cream that we have in our course. But I don't put the vanilla, but I just infuse some thyme that I found in my garden, and uh, and then you add some cherries on this, and it's super simple as a dessert, but it's very, very tasteful. It's something that is very important that people don't always realize. If you make a dessert with products that are grown in the same region, on the same soil, the flavors will actually go well together. It's called the terroir,
Yeah.
okay? And that's a very important aspect that people should not forget. If you get cherries from Bulgaria, and then peaches from Switzerland, and thyme from Italy, and all this, those are three different soils, and it might go together, it might not go together. So that's why it's so important to always shop local, or to grow things in your garden, and then make desserts out of them.
Yeah, that's so true. Living here in Hawaii, I've been doing a lot of dinners, and a friend of
Yeah.
mine has a piece of property with over 50 culinary uses, and it's all about the terroir. So I'm using jackfruit and
It's all,
breadfruit,
yeah, yeah.
dragon fruit, and it's not just that it's a fresh ingredient, but it's come off the land and the soil. So that's nice you mentioned that.
And
Let's take
always
a look. Go ahead.
follow the seasons. Follow the seasons. Use the product that is in season because that's when it's the best product. On the market video that we just showed, you see those beautiful berries, and those berries are so good, so flavorful. When you go home, you have to use them right away because they're like at the edge of ripeness, right? And then
Right.
after that, if you leave them too long, they're not gonna spoil, but they are on their way to. So go with the season and don't try to make a strawberry dessert in January. Make it a dessert based on what's available today.
Right. So this is the first of a four-part series, and it's going to evolve
Yes.
with the season. So we're doing one in October, November,
Yes.
and December, and each of these events will kind of revolve around what you're finding in the farmers market, leading into holiday desserts, and we will just touch on the techniques that are being represented in each of the three courses. Mostly the introduction to pastry arts and bread baking arts. The cake is very
Yes.
specific. But let's take a look at this cherry marmalade with peaches and thyme ice cream that you made.
Okay.
Awesome. So that ice cream that you infused with thyme, was that kind of a tea method where you heated the cream and infused the thyme?
Yes, I cooked my ice cream and I put the thyme at the end. Once the ice cream was cooked, um, then I put the thyme and then I let it infuse overnight. You don't want to infuse it too long, right? If you don't want to put it in the beginning of the cooking because when cooking with thyme, if you put too much of it or if it's too strong, then it becomes overpowering. So you have to put it at the right time.
Yeah, when I said the tea method, this is kind of what I learned years ago when I bring my liquid, my
Yeah,
milk and cream to a scald, take it off the heat, and then I would add like
exactly.
rosemary and bay leaf and orange zest and let it steep for a period of time, maybe 20 minutes, half an hour, and then strain it out. So I'm actually grasping the volatile oils. And there is a recipe for vanilla ice cream infusing vanilla bean in the Introduction to Pastry Arts course.
Yes, and talk about bay leaves. I found, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 foot high bushes of bay leaf. I don't know what to do with them. So maybe we'll make a recipe with that, a fall
So
dessert.
you keep talking about making recipes. Are you going to be writing a cookbook or something, chef?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, right now I don't have a kitchen, but the construction is going well. And I'm gonna have I'm building a kitchen, and then it's gonna be nice. It's gonna be a working kitchen,
Nice.
and after that, the sky's the limit. I don't know what I'm going to do next, but so far I'm enjoying helping our students with Ruby on a daily basis, and so that's this I will continue, and then the rest we will see, right?
Right. So let's go into another ingredient that you found. I see you found some apricots and then you did a crumble with us. Tell us about that.
Yes. So apricots are widely used in France. They just love apricots. Why is because for pastry, because it can be a little acidic, right? Um, when they're not completely ripe, and any flavor that is acidic will go well with pastry because pastry is sweet. So apricot are widely used in France, and here it's they were just so good. I put them in a dish, buttered the dish, and then I made a crumble, but also saw that if you add 25% of heavy cream to a crumble, when the crumble is raw, you mix it, and then the crumble gets soft, and then you can use this as how do you call that? Uh, uh, Help me out. Uh,
The crumble.
no, 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 no. It will come back to me. This is funny because when I lived in the US, I would always say, "How do you say that in French?" And now, only 2 months here, I'm always asking, "How do you say that in English?" Um, a, a, no, a cobbler. There you go, a cobbler. You're
Cobbler.
not helping
Yes.
me, Scott. A cobbler. So, adding 25% of heavy cream to a raw crumble will make it softer, and you will actually obtain the cobbler crust taste and texture. So it's just wonderful to do that. You can make a crumble and keep it like this, and then you can also take a portion of it and soften it with that. And you can soften it if you can soften it with heavy cream, you could soften it with almond milk or with creme fraiche or sour cream. The sky's the limit. But that's something that I did and tasted really good. And then after that, I put like crushed almonds on top, and then I think I put whipped cream on this one. Because the cream is so good here. The In that market, there's people that are so specialized in everything they do, and so there's a few dairy people, and they have different types of heavy cream, and they have raw heavy cream, raw butter, and it's just so flavorful. I know this is not allowed in the U.S., but
Yeah.
when you taste that, you can almost taste the cow.
Yeah. Well, let's take a look at that
Yeah.
apricot dish that you made. Go ahead, Patrick.
Okay.
That was nice. Thanks for sharing, Chef. So, just a note for everyone on the event, a lot of these things are based on the techniques that Chef has been doing for years, the crumble, the ice
Yes.
cream, and these courses that we have will represent these techniques. But then he's getting to the point where he can walk into the market and find some peaches and some thyme and, decide to make something out of those, core techniques. So there's not
Yes.
necessarily recipes for the things that you're seeing today, but the concept is put together with some of the techniques that are taught.
Absolutely. Those are most of the recipes come from our courses, and sometimes, like I said, like the crumble, I change them around a little bit, but the core recipes that I'm using are all mainly in our pastry and bread course. But maybe for the holiday, I'll make a sponge cake from the cake decorating course. That would be fun.
Yeah. So the next concept I see you put together is something with puff pastry, and you talked about making puff pastry in your kitchen without refrigeration. How was that?
Without air conditioning, and I'm on the top floor. I'm under the roof, so I hit my head
Oh, no.
24/7. Just give me a euro every time I hit my head, and I'll retire, right? And but again, I have to use my tiny. It's the fridge that I have is kind of like this under counter fridge, and the freezer is about the size of a wallet. And but you have to make do, and then you have to make sure the dough and the butter are they're very cold. And old houses like this, you have to keep the shutters open at night, so the house cools down actually a lot. During the day, we're still having 90-degree weather here during the day, but at night it goes down to like 65.
Mm.
So you can cool down the house, and then after that, in the morning you close the shutters, and then you just use what you have. And then when you make puff pastry, I use the quick puff recipe from our course, and you just have to move fast. You
Mhm.
have to move fast and then apply the folds and then put it right away back in the fridge. So it works. You just have to be ready to work fast.
Okay, well, and you were inspired some of the about from some of the figs you found in the market for this next dish.
Oh yeah, it's just those figs are just so ripe. It's just wonderful. So I did a base. I blind baked some puff pastry in this little dish. I got all my equipment from a resale store because my shipment, all my tools are still somewhere on a boat
Yeah.
in the middle of the Atlantic, and so blind baked the puff pastry, and then after that I put a small layer of raspberry jam that I made from the fresh raspberries, uh, figs that I cut in quarters, uh, drizzle a little bit of brown butter, little sugar, and then I just bake this in a quite hot oven, so the and there's a lot of heat coming from the top because the bottom part was already baked.
Right.
And when this dish came out, I just piped a little bit of raspberry jam in between the crevasses, and that was it.
Nice. Let's see that dish, Patrick.
Okay.
Je avais mis des livres là, tu vois.
You know.
Well, that's beautiful. Those figs. I haven't had figs that ripe since I was living in Napa Valley. We had a 5 acre
Oh
farm
yeah.
that the students ran. We had a few trees that were just
But
producing beautiful
yeah.
turkey figs like that.
But you know they grow where there's water. You know they just need water and sun. That's what I was told. Again, I'm not a I'm not a gardener or anything, but we have somebody helping us to because there's a lot of new things that I need to figure out, and that person said all you need is sun and good climate, but also water, and on my land, they just grow widely. I found another small patch of figs that are growing. I don't know what I might have to transplant them. I don't know, but they're so delicious that they they should be used for pastry more. I believe if somebody can get a hold of them, you know.
Awesome. So I know that you've also had some experiences with some savory ingredients that you've been new to, and I think you just found out about purslane. Is that right?
Yeah, you know, I'm trained. I'm trained in pastry. I'm not trained in savory, but it's all connected. It
Yeah.
really is all connected. And so I was ripping out this what I thought it was weed, and the person who's helping us with the garden is like, no, this is purslane, and I'm like, what is that? And then so with a little research, you know. I realized that it's actually very good. It's full of nutrients, and
Mhm.
you can eat it raw or cooked. And so, because it's quite hot, still I made this very fresh, healthy salad with purslane and some organic tomatoes. I have some avocado. I have some onions. Um, you can put some feta cheese and protein. It's again, if the product that you use is so good, the produce, you should not mess with it too much. Just put it together, flavor it properly, and then just enjoy it. And then when you eat it, because you didn't touch it so much, you will find again all the true flavors of each piece of produce. So it's
Right.
refreshing to do that. I'm gonna continue experimenting with savory dishes as the seasons progress, because it's so much fun. And actually, the reason also why I made this salad is because I had made the multigrain bread from our course, and I uh, I realized that this salad would go really, really well with the multigrain, and it did.
Nice. Yeah, I learned about purslane about a decade ago when I was working at the Culinary
Really?
Institute of America, and it was growing like a weed. And I was kind of doing the same thing. Let's clear out that weed. And I was like, no, that's purslane. It has a little bit of a viscous texture to it when you chew it. So it's
Yes.
kind of sweet, savory with a nice texture.
Yeah.
All right, let's see the salad you put together. Go ahead, Patrick. Thanks, chef. You'll never be able to know how good that bread is unless you take the bread course and try and make it yourself. So
Yeah.
I'm glad you're getting into some savory. This is fun to be talking to you across the world in your new world and seeing what you're doing. And I look forward to the other events that we're going to do throughout the fall. I know that we're going to get into some bread making, and that you found a bread oven on your property.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit
Yes.
about that.
Yes. It's an oven that was. It's quite large. You will see on the video in a minute. It's quite large. It was used as the communal oven for in that village. The village is that I in is very small, and so people would come with. I'm talking about 200 years ago. They would come with bread that they would make. They all had to meet at a certain time, day and time, and then the owner of the farm would fire the oven, and then everybody would bake, and then they would take the bread home. And so it's my one of my quests is to renovate it, um, to go inside and then scrape all the bricks. The bricks got humid, and I need to have with a
Mhm.
steel brush. And also, I need to create a vent. So with bread ovens, usually, typically, you have a vent straight through the middle. But this one, the vent is actually the door is the vent,
Mhm.
and I think it's not safe, especially it's you make whatever pizza and stuff, and you have children around and people are, you have this big thing coming at you. It might create some fun during a party, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm old-fashioned, so I'm going to drill through the back of it, and then create a vent so it can vent out through the back. So I'll be taking videos as I progress with this guy, and I am confident that probably next year we'll have some videos of of us making pizzas
Yeah.
my favorite, which is tarte flambée, right? Which is flatbread from Alsace, which is in the bread course. So that's an ongoing project, and it'll be fun to show you how things work or don't work because you never know what you're gonna find, right?
Yeah.
Uh, you have to go in there, you have to crawl in there, and then just make sure get rid of all the animals that have been living there for I don't know how many
Okay.
years, and then start working.
Well, if you need some help, just let me know and I'll come by.
Okay, fantastic.
So let's take a look at this bread oven that you found on your property. So that's awesome. I assumed wood fired with what type of wood? From fruit trees on land or something?
Yeah, yeah, I have quite a few trees that are gonna come down because the the property has been neglected for I don't know how many years. So things are just growing on top of each other. So we'll have a lot of trees to take care of, and then we'll have a lot of wood for a lot of and from it. So cannot wait.
Nice. Well, thanks for sharing, Chef. Let's go into the questions. We have only a few questions here today, but let's start with the first question from Linda. She's having
Okay.
so much difficulty with the French baguettes. I'm actually a psychologist and know better than to obsess. Anyway, I'll do my very best to attend this and learn as much as possible. So, not sure specifically what the difficulty is with the French baguettes, but Chef, is there anything that you might give as a high-level technique and tips?
Well, well, I grade most of the bread recipes that students are submitting, and the problems are usually always around shaping shaping the loaves. They usually are shaped a little bit too tightly, and once you do that, then the bread cannot develop as much. You won't get the loaf ear that you want, and also the crumb is going to be a little tight. So uh, that's easy to say. It takes some time to practice, and I mean the recipe that we have is works really well. We have our students do well with it. Just pay attention to the shaping. That's where things go south. Don't overshape it. I would rather see somebody under shape. And when I say shape it, don't shape it so tightly. Uh, Try to shape it a little bit less, and don't touch it too much. Because the more you touch it, the more you kill all the bubbles that have been created. First we shape the small pieces of loaves into rounds, and so and then it's resting, and while it's resting, bubbles are being created by the yeast, and so by over pressing those baguettes, you kill all those bubbles that were there. So less pressing, less tight shaping, and then make sure the oven is very hot, and don't overproof. Also, if you overproof your any kind of bread, that bread will not have what we call the oven spring. It will not be able to just rise up during the baking. So those are the things I would tell Linda, but uh, uh, she can continue to contact us through the Q&A, and we'll always be there to help her until she makes baguettes that are more beautiful than the baker that is actually 50 yards from where I live. He's been third generation baker. So this can be done. This can be done by any of our students. It just takes practice. Baguette is one of the most difficult bread to make, so it takes time. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for the detail, Chef. We have a
Mm.
question here from Alexandra. I would love to learn more about the 13 Christmas desserts or any special holiday desserts. So I know that in in November, December, we're going to be kind of focusing on some holiday specials, and then you're going to
Yes.
be traveling in December for another one. The 13 Christmas desserts. Is this specific to France or is it specific to Europe, Chef?
No, maybe there's something I don't know. The 13 Christmas, but I'm sorry, I don't know what this is, and I will do some research right after the event, and Alexandra can always contact us.
Okay.
But yes, you're right. I will be making us some cookies. My region, Alsace, is very well known for uh, making lots of different cookies. Some people they do up to 50 different types of cookies, and it's a custom to to bring bags of cookies to people that we meet during the holidays. So I'm going to do a lot of those, and many of those are cookies that are like shortbread cookies and things like this that are very close to what we have in our courses. But I will look into that 13 desserts, and then and hopefully we can connect again with Alexandra and help her out with that.
Okay, awesome for sure. And Linda's watching, and she just replied, "Thank you so much." So her French baguette overproofed due to the 90s in California, and it's too tight. So thanks for your explanation, Chef. She already.
And I would say to Linda, since she's a psychologist, she should not overthink it. Uh, try to keep it simple and not overthink each step, because that actually makes us. It can be for anything that we have not done yet, right? Sometimes it's better to just go for it, right? Even if it fails, but overthinking sometimes blocks the steps that you're supposed to follow. So Linda, you should try that method, and then and maybe it will change things, right, for the better.
Nice. Thanks for your psychologist's view of making bread, Chef. So next question
Okay,
is from.
that's my next thing. I'm gonna be a pastry psychologist.
I think you should. You have the wherewithal to do it. All right, this is from Shane. Hello, Chef. With today's economy, what are some cost-effective South of France inspired dessert ideas? So I think some of the fruit desserts you have made might be cost-effective
Oh yeah.
because you're kind of small amount of figs, a small amount of berries. But anything else come to mind? I know maybe a cha-cha-tan, but
None.
that's a little bit more fall.
Yeah, none of the desserts that I made are expensive to produce, and you know why? Is because they don't involve a lot of different steps. Pastry desserts can become expensive if you have so many steps in the making of those desserts. And I went to a fine dining restaurant the other day, and the desserts were extremely simple. They were not like a small, what we call petit gâteau, small pastry that has 15 different layers. It's nothing like that. It's dessert that have simple components and really well put together, and the flavors are very strong. So that's what I would say. Those desserts that I showed today are simple enough to be cost effective, especially if you use the product that are in season, and they're not so expensive, right? Strawberries in season are not very expensive. Strawberries in December are much more expensive.
Thank you, Chef. So here's a question from Julia. Julia has taken a few of our courses. Hello, Chef Jackie and Scott. Are there any new classes coming in from the French pastry school?
I don't know. We have to think about that, right?
I think we have to think about that. We've done 3. We've kind of touched on a lot of different things, but there's a whole world of other techniques out there. We might start thinking about that in the new year, Chef.
Okay.
All right, excellent. Question from Aruna. Sorry, I know you're doing South of France desserts, but I have a question about the donut class. My dough was extremely sticky and never really seemed to freeze. I just left the dough in the freezer and eventually was successful. Any ideas where I went wrong with regards to the donut dough in the freezer?
Donut dough in the freezer.
Yeah.
Well, if the dough is sticky, it can be because maybe this person lives in an environment that is very humid. When you make any kind of yeast dough, the liquid is usually the main ingredient is flour, but the second main ingredient is liquid. It could be water, could be milk, and this and that. But one should never assume that the amount of liquid that we list is the amount that you need, because you have to work with the flour of the moment. So if you live in a very humid climate, that flour already when it's made by the miller is contains about 14% water, right? But then if it sits in a storage room that is very humid, it will absorb even more humidity, and so adding the amount of liquid that we recommend in our recipe to this kind of flour, it will make the dough too sticky. So what I always recommend is to hold back maybe 10% of the water just by eye. You don't have to measure it, and just hold some water back or some liquid back. If you need to add it, fine. But if you don't need to add it, your dough is gonna be fine. That being said, I lived in Chicago 30 years, and for 30 years, and the during the winter we experiencing 15, 15% humidity, and all our doughs always needed extra liquid. So the thing to really pay attention to is the environment. My dad was a baker, and he would I would help him at a very young age, like 7, 8, 9 years old. And then so once he wakes me up at midnight to work with him, and then I go downstairs and I see him outside in the courtyard, and then and I'm like, "What are you doing? Let's go." I get up to help you, so I want to get this done. And then only maybe 10 years later, he told me that he would, before he would start making the dough, he would go outside and inhale the air, you know, and from there he could tell if sometimes, before a storm, there's a lot of humidity in the air. So he would smell that, and then from there he would adjust the liquid, you know. So you know uh, I would recommend this person to make sure to not put all the liquid right away.
Well, that's a detailed story around helping her with donuts. Thanks, Chef, for the
Yeah.
nostalgia. And last question is from Kim here. Hello, Chef. I'm interested in making a rum pot where you layer seasonal fruit with sugar and rum, leaving it to macerate for 2 to 3 months before consuming. If you are familiar with this, which fruits would you suggest for this? I've never heard of this. Do you know about
I
the
have never heard of
rum
it
pot?
too, but now I'm gonna look into this too, Kim, and I'm actually going to start making them,
Yeah.
and then hopefully for the next live event, I will be able to have an answer. The rum pot dessert, and uh, I'm curious to see where it comes from. Scott, you don't know, you have never heard of the
You
the
know,
rum pot?
I don't know. I mean, if I was to be macerating fruit for 2 to 3 months with rum, which would help prevent the bacteria from growing, I would think of some like firmer fruits, maybe a nectarine and peach and figs that are not as ripe, so it doesn't
Yeah.
become just a mess. But I'm gonna have to look into it too.
Yes. Oh yeah,
Okay,
it's
it's a
German.
German.
Uh, okay, no, I will look into it. Well, if it's German, I come from Alsace. We might call it something different. No, we have something called Beerebecke, which is actually, now that you say it's German, Patrick. So this is it's a bread that is made from macerated fruit, and those are usually dried fruit that we use to macerate in rum and kirsch, of course, because
Hmm.
it's the Alsace region. There's a lot of kirsch, and then it macerates for weeks, and then after that, a small amount of dough is added to it. I should make that. I will totally make that for the holiday live event, and then. And then it's shaped into loaves, and then it bakes slowly in the oven, and then after it's baked, we let it completely cool and we wrap it. But we cut very thin slices, and it goes very well with a cheese platter,
Hmm.
uh, bread, cheese, and then a slice of this. It's not that sweet, full of booze. So life is good. But I will look into the rum pot and see what we call it back home.
Great. Well, thank you, Chef. That concludes all of our questions today. I know some of you on this event have taken some of our classes, and those of you that have not, if you see under my name and Chef Jackie's name, there's a link that gives you an overview of the 3 courses, a listing of the curriculum, and the different techniques taught to kind of support your journey through learning to bake and make bread. So thanks again, Chef Jackie, from your time in France, my time in Hawaii. I look forward to the next 3 events, and stay tuned for the topics coming up. And
Absolutely.
have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.